I'm just wondering, what would it look like for a year if you put everybody else first? Hey everyone, good to be back. This is our reading from the Gospel on the 25th Sunday of Ordinary Time, and it is this year, September 19th, and we're reading from the Gospel according to St. Mark. Here we go. Jesus and his disciples went on and passed through Galilee. He did not want anyone to know it, for he was teaching his disciples and saying to them, "The Son of Man is to be betrayed into human hands, and they will kill him. And 3 days after being killed, he will rise again." But they did not understand what he was saying, and they were afraid to ask him. Then they came to Capernaum, and when he was in the house, he asked them, "What were you arguing about on the way?" But they were silent, for on the way they had argued with one another who was the greatest. He sat down, he called the 12, and he said to them, "Whoever wants to be first must be last of all and servant of all." Then he took a little child and put it among them, and taking it in his arms, he said to them, "Whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me welcomes not me, but the one who sent me." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. You know what? This is pretty simple. There's not a lot of deeper meanings to this. The one funny thing is Jesus tells his disciples about being killed and then rising from the dead, and they just didn't get it. They didn't understand him. They were afraid to ask him. And then he obviously was listening to them on this journey. And he said, "Hey, what were you guys arguing about, like when we were on our way here?" And that word arguing actually translates a little better, and just to give the disciples some credit, it translates a little better into like pondering, wondering about, maybe a little bit of debating. But sometimes we translate that and we're like, these bums, they were just yakking back and forth and up in each other's grills and trying to determine, who was the best, right? And there was a little bit of that going on, but it was more of a pondering, a questioning, a wondering. And then he pulls just the 12 aside. Okay, so we got 12 apostles and multiple disciples, of which those 12 were included, but he just calls these particular 12 guys aside. And he gives them a little bit of, one-on-one kind of coaching, 1-on-12. Teacher calls you off to the side and says, "Hey, okay." So he does a little bit of extra work with them. And he just says, "Look, you guys, I'm going to die. I'm going to give my life for all of humanity. It's not the time to be arguing about who's going first. You missed the point. The point is you need to put everyone else in front of you, and you go to the back of the line. You give up for others. You give up power for others. You give up your strength for the sake of others. Put everyone ahead of you." This was huge because these were 12 guys, and in this culture, this time, they were first. Kids, women, slaves, everybody else, was kind of second place to them. And Jesus is saying, slaves, put them ahead of you. Your wives, put them ahead of you. Your children, put them ahead of you. Take the lowest seat at the table is another way that he puts it in another story going on this same theme. Take the lowest seat at the table. Let everyone else ahead of you. And that's just not hard to think about where we can do that in our own lives. And I'm just wondering, what would it look like for a year if you put everybody else first? And it may just be in the lineup at the cafeteria. Go ahead of me. It might just be going and, grabbing the Slurpee down at the Circle K, or it might be grocery shopping with your mom. Let someone go ahead of you. Pass your place off to somebody else. 1 year. I wonder what that would look like. Love you guys. See you on the next one.